Now, representing the LL.M class, we'll hear from Mohammad Usman Piracha. Usman obtained his BSc in Information Technology with honors from the National University of Sciences and Technology in Pakistan, and his MSc in Business Management from the University of Edinburgh Business School in Scotland. He also has a postgraduate diploma in law from the School of Law at the University of Sussex and an LL.M in legal practice from the City Law School in London. He's admitted to the Pakistan Bar Council as an advocate, and he's also an executive board member of the Intellectual Property and Technology Association. After graduation, he plans to sit for the New York Bar. Please join me in welcoming to the stage our LL.M speaker, Mohammad Usman Piracha.
Can anyone not hear me? Okay, thank you for that very kind introduction, Dean Penalver. It is indeed an honor to be here. We are all excited and electrified for this wonderful day to come upon us. And let me start by actually making a confession. I applied to Cornell Law School 2 years ago. I was put on a waiting list forever. And then I was turned down. So next year, I decided to apply again. Einstein defined insanity of doing the same thing again and expecting a different result. Well, this time I think I tried harder. I managed to get into a decent school somewhere in North California, one that rhymes with Bentley, if I may borrow that from Professor Whitehead. And interestingly enough, I was again on the waiting list at Cornell. But this time, I had had enough. So I decided to pack my bags and get on a plane, travel a few thousand miles, to seek an audience with Dean Amy Holton for 30 minutes, because I knew it was worth it. Cornell was a place like no other. It had a legacy that I wanted to be a part of. And I am ever so grateful for Dean Amy Holton, who allowed me to make the best decision of my life by granting me a place on this program and to share the last year with all of you amazing individuals and friends. Of course, having said that, my apologies to Dean Houghton, who will probably expect 150 students on the waiting list as we speak to be crowding her office next week, perhaps, since I have spilled the beans quite publicly. When I sat down to write this speech, I tried to remind myself of the previous convocations and graduation ceremonies, the people who had very kindly shared their words of wisdom. Unfortunately, I remembered none of it. And when that dawned upon me, I realized I wasn't anxious anymore. The very likely chance that you will remember nothing I will say takes away quite a bit of my anxiety. But then I was reminded of the great work Cornell Law School has done to celebrate diversity by sticking to its core values of generating positive change over many years of its existence, a trend which is still very much alive today. We elected the first Latino dean of any Ivy League law school, a student president of the Cornell Law School Association of Iranian Heritage, and the honor that I was bestowed, someone with the first name Mohammed, born in  speaking before you at our convocation. So, should someone be elected president this November, it might be the very last that you see of our kind. Yes. And, and hence, yes, we don't want any walls. Anyway, and hence the urge to share with you something of value came back stronger. And so did the anxiety. Therefore, I wish to put before you some words of wisdom that were passed on to me by a remarkable man I met many years ago, with the hope that you and I will remember them as we graduate from one of the most prestigious universities of the world. Fresh out of business school many years ago, I wanted to bring about positive change. And so I worked as a human rights officer in one of the most dangerous places in South Asia. It was here that I met a refugee who had literally lost everything. Let that sink in for a while. Over time, we became great friends. And when I told him that it was time for me to move on, for I was leaving for law school, he offered me one but very powerful advice. These are his words. Where knowledge is a powerful tool, he said, it comes at a price. It can sometimes allow people to gain a false sense of security, of knowing it all. These people can sometimes dig themselves in trenches, dug in positions, stubborn to change or accept another's point of view. This is because they are just too sure about their own beliefs, fueled by their pride of knowing more than the rest. This is a profound statement coming from a man that most numerical assessments would classify as illiterate, but he had acquired a remarkable education by contemplating on the harsh realities he faced. This was also the moment which allowed me to realize that where I had wanted to be that agent of change, it had worked in the opposite way. My surroundings had instilled more change in me. It gave me a different view to the world. Sometimes, to become the lawyers in the best sense and bring about change that uphold the traditions of Cornell Law School, we may have to be the first to change ourselves. And this will perhaps be the most difficult, but definitely the best start we could ever make. I wish I could talk in detail about the wonderful memories we shared as an LL.M cohort, along with the JD colleagues, of course. Thanksgiving dinners. You don't have to be an American to know that you're thankful. Celebrating the Chinese New Year. And most interestingly, Holi and Pakistan Day on the same calendar date. But I must stop myself for 3 reasons. First, I have only about 7 minutes to speak. Secondly, I would rather let our parents think that all we did was study. But most importantly, I believe this is not the end of a chapter, but the beginning of something greater, something new. The best, my friends, is ahead of us, and we will build upon the friendships we cultivated here at Cornell Law School. However, I will take the opportunity to thank, starting with my fellow dear LL.M colleagues. You have been remarkable, and Ithaca was warmer this year in the last 174 years, just because you were on campus. Of course, everywhere else around the East Coast, it probably was just global warming. My fellow JDs, thank you for sharing with us your thoughts, ideas, time, and most importantly, some life-saving course outlines that I am sure were passed on to you with great care and trust by those before you. To the faculty members, teachers, you have allowed us to challenge our thinking, open our minds, and become a better version of ourselves, not just as lawyers. Thank you. My sincere thanks to Honorable Judge Delissa Ridgway for graciously accepting my invitation to attend this convocation, even when she has a hearing tomorrow morning in NYC. And last but most importantly, our parents, family members, guardians, mentors, anyone who helped us through every step of this way to achieve what we have today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment when you start playing that favorite victory tune in your mind. The drums start to roll. You hold your breath, but not for too long before you start turning blue. And allow me to say, class of 2016 of the Cornell Law School, congratulations. We did it.